In the last part, we discussed the beginning of total non-stop action all the way to signing for bigger names in the professional wrestling world. Welcome back to part 2 of the rise and fall of TNA wrestling. TNA never viewed themselves as an alternative to the WWE. They may have claimed to be the alternative, but their actions proved otherwise. TNA always acted as if they wanted to be WWE and would try out sports entertainment WWE at every possible opportunity. Had TNA focused on being the younger, faster paced wrestling product, we may be talking a different story today. Several notable instances of TNA's inferiority complex were related to storylines that got too much airtime and destroyed the aura around their performers. Vince Russo returned to the booking committee, and instead of spending the valuable TV time showing the differences between the WWE product and the TNA product, they recycled old, successful WWF Attitude Era storylines and looked like a cheap imitation of sports entertainment as they tried to garner the attention of WWE. TNA signed as many former WWE superstars as possible as soon as they became available, and they never lost matches in TNA to the homegrown talent of TNA, and if they did, they had already destroyed any credibility the TNA wrestlers had to where no one cared. From September of 2005, when TNA started on Spike TV, to the fall of 2011, the only TNA homegrown talent to hold the NWA or TNA Heavyweight Championship were AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Abyss. Of the three, only AJ Styles held the title when it mattered. Samoa Joe held it for several months, but it was too late for him, and he was defeated by Sting at TNA's Bound for Glory 2008. Abyss's reign lasted an entire 2 months as the calendar turned from 2006 to 2007. The message was clear that if you were a TNA fan from the beginning, former WWE guys mattered. The homegrown fans' favourite did not. The only reason James Storm, Bobby Roode, and others got the opportunity with the title is because all the former WWE guys either left when their deals expired or were shuffled down the card because TNA could not afford to pay them anymore. Instead of highlighting the differences between WWE and TNA and using the established WWE guys to put over the homegrown TNA talent, TNA chose to be WWE Light. After maintaining their 1.2 ratings for over a year and not growing any further, TNA and Spike TV went all in and brought in Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan to run the creative end of TNA and help with business decisions. For some reason, TNA and Spike TV decided to go head to head with WWE on Monday night, despite the ratings showing no sign of improvement. TNA brought in Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Sean Waltman, Sean Morley, who used to perform in WWE as Foul Phoenix, Bubba the Love Sponge, Ric Flair, the Nasty Boys, and more of Hogan's friends. TNA had the highest rated show ever for first Monday night, but the ratings quickly fell into the basement, forcing them back to Thursday. The main problem for TNA came when they decided to focus on the older talent as opposed to the homegrown talent that TNA were founded on. Older talent like Rob Van Dam was brought in and would take the TNA Championship from AJ Styles. TNA also started spending money they didn't have all over the place. It's safe to say Bischoff and Hogan's salaries didn't come cheap, especially since Bischoff and TNA had been embroiled in a lawsuit over money owed for years. It's also safe to say that their friends were also not coming in on $1,500 a night deals. Combine that with the high salaries of Sting and Kurt Angle, and you have a company with a lot of money going out for talent and not a lot of money coming in, considering their house shows were drawing an average of 700 people and they weren't able to sell tickets in the Impact Zone due to their deals with Universal Studios. Hogan and Bischoff decided to take TNA on the road in an attempt to grow the company, but more problems occurred when they failed to sell out arenas, meaning they were losing more money than they were making. The Hogan-Bischoff regime did not 100% kill TNA, but it certainly sent them into that direction. For all of the things Dixie Carter should be praised for in helping the company grow, there are equally, if not more, reasons for which she should be assigned blame in helping the company die. As the owner of the company, Dixie Carter had the main power on storylines. Instead of taking a stand and doing what was right for the company on screen, she took the advice of Vince Russo and let him do whatever he wanted, to the ultimate detriment of the company. Others may have had a say in the process, but she never picked a horse and stuck with him in terms of a creative direction. She could have listened to the fans and made the decisions to push for homegrown talent and use the WWE talent to help them grow. Instead, she was starstruck and let the former WWE superstars use the company as a place to make money and run roughshod over for AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. There are numerous other things she did over the course of her ownership that were terrible, but her biggest mistake occurred after Vince Russo was fired again during the Bischoff-Hogan regime. It was reported that behind the scenes, Spike TV wanted nothing to do with Vince Russo ever again as it related to TNA wrestling. At some point, Dixie Carter put Vince Russo back on the payroll as a consultant, but allegedly told him to keep it a secret and not tell anyone. After the arrangement had been happening for a while, Vince Russo accidentally emailed PW Insider's Mike Johnson instead of TNA Wrestling's Mike Tenay with production notes. Vince Russo went public and started lying and attempting to shame Mike Johnson into a retraction before TNA hastily and reluctantly admitted that the story was indeed correct. When Spike TV found out that was the beginning of the end of their relationship with Dixie Carter and TNA, Spike TV made the decision to get out of the professional wrestling business, and it forced TNA to find a new home for Impact. The new home was Destination America, a television channel that is only on upper tier packages in the United States. Suddenly, Impact lost nearly half of its audience once it moved to the new network. It was hard for fans to find it and watch it, and many were hesitant to add another $15 per month or more to their cable bill in order to watch Impact, so they simply quit following TNA. Dixie Carter once again sabotaged a relationship with TNA's television partner due to what is allegedly an email that was sent out that accidentally copied Destination America's employees on it. The email purposely stated that Destination America was not a good television partner and that TNA felt as if they could do better on another network. Destination America soon thereafter announced plans to no longer air Impact once the current contract ran out. This forced TNA to once again find another network to air Impact. This time, TNA found an unlikely suitor in the Pop TV network. Pop TV has been a great partner for TNA creatively, but in the end it was far below of what Spike TV and even Destination America. Dixie's poor decisions led TNA to the worst financial state it had ever been in, and Dixie had no choice but to eventually defect from the company. TNA had fallen so far from grace at this point that the company is almost unrecognisable to this day. The company has attempted to rebrand itself as Global Force Wrestling under Jeff Jarrett as quickly as Jarrett was brought back to the company in 2005, but as soon as he was brought back, he was gone once again due to his continuous drinking problems. The company still airs, but the same vibe is no longer there. TNA is considered dead in the water and is no longer considered the same alternative to WWE than what it once was. It's hard to put the blame on just one person, but constant years of poor decisions led the company to seemingly drop to the unrecognisable state that we see it today. Who knows, maybe one day TNA may one day turn things around, but at this moment it seems very unlikely that that is ever going to happen. Hopefully you all enjoyed this episode of Wrestling's Confidential Files. If you did, then be sure to leave a like to show your support, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for future content.